very tough because we use very big pots. So those pots all come from Pat Lê Lai and all the ancient pot. Only Pat Lê Lai has. So Sister Eileen went to Pat Lê Lai to borrow all the big pots. Wow, when washing the pots, then it's really tedious. Then also the very huge pail also from Pat Lê Lai, no Bante. A lot of things we went to Pat Lê Lai to take.
Okay, it's 8:30. Maybe Terence can kick off.
Bante. Skill 2 and a very good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is 21st of October 2025. I'd like to extend a great welcome to all viewers to this channel. MSBS is very glad and grateful to have with us Bante Adhibalo, Open Phra Goh, to conduct this weekly session. This week we are still continuing on the Brahmā Sutta, the Brahma's net from Digha Nikaya 1. Bante will be leading the homage to Buddha and taking a 5% for peace. Now let's compose our mind, palms together, and welcome Bante. Go ahead, Bante.
Okay, thank you, Terence. And we start off with paying respects to the Buddha by bowing 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And we begin with the opening chant and the homage. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinādāna Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kāmesu Micchācāra Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musāvādā Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Surameraya Majjapamadatthāna Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening to everyone, and we are still on this very long sutta, the Brahmā net. I think we had a 2-week break, and we are going to continue to where we left off. Even I've forgotten where we stopped, so good thing Terence now had this new arrow thing added. Okay, so just a quick recap. The beginning portion talks about this Buddha, right? His qualities, how to praise the Buddha, starting from the physical behavior, And now we are moving on to the doctrinal, ideological teachings. What are the things that the Buddha stand for, or his teachings stand for? Yeah, these are the qualities that is sort of praiseworthy. So they are going through, or the Buddha is going through all the religious views in India. So now he's going to talk about this ill-wriggling. So I'm going to just read out. There are monks, some contemplatives and Brahmans, who being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill-wriggling on 4 grounds. And with reference to what, coming from what, do these honorable contemplatives and Brahmans, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill-wriggling on 4 grounds. Okay, next. So basically it's not giving a straight answer. So the 13 here refers to the 13th view. So previously we talked about the eternalism and partial eternalism, so they have all the different views. And now we are going to talk about this particular group of behaviors which may apply all across the board. Whatever belief system, there might be people who do ill-wriggling. If they do not want to answer straight, if they do not know, they can just say do not know, but they want to show that they know something, but do not want to give a straight answer. Okay, there is the case where certain contemplative or Brahman doesn't discern as it has come to be that this is skillful, or that this is unskillful. The thought occurs to him, I don't discern as it has come to be that this is skillful, or that this is unskillful. If I, not discerning as it has come to be that this is skillful, not discerning as it has come to be that this is unskillful, were to declare that this is skillful or that this is unskillful, that would be a falsehood on my part. So basically, at least in their mind, they're honest. They know, they do not know the answer, what is skillful or what is unskillful. So in Buddhism, anything skillful is non-greed, non-anger, non-delusion. Anything unskillful would be any kind of thought, verbal or bodily action that is with greed, anger, delusion. So that is at least the Buddhist definition of unskillful. So if, let's say, a person meditate, then you have all the 5 hindrances come, and then you're overcome by the 5 hindrances. Can be restlessness, can be sloth and torpor, greed or anger, and you do not know how to resolve them. The more you meditate, the more immersed you are into these hindrances, then this is called unskillful. You've got no skill. You don't have the right skill, don't have the right technique to free the mind from this. So skillful, that's why in our session or in our routine, I always emphasize right thought, please think of right thought, think of well and happy, or think of impermanence, think of something. Must be thoughts of non-greed, thoughts of non-anger. So thoughts of non-anger will be loving kindness, thoughts of non-greed, we think of impermanence. So we keep on thinking of that, repeat over and over again so that we can reduce the defilement. Okay, next slide. Whatever would be a falsehood on my part would be a distress for me. Whatever would be a distress for me would be an obstacle for me. So out of fear of falsehood, a loathing for falsehood, he does not declare that this is skillful or that this is unskillful. Being asked questions regarding this or that, he resorts to verbal contortions, to ill-wriggling. I don't think so. I don't think in that way. I don't think otherwise. I don't think not. I don't think not. Well, so many different ways to evade the question. So that is called ill-wriggling. That means not giving a straight answer to what is skillful or unskillful. Okay, next. So actually we stopped here the previous lesson. Okay, this is the first basis with reference to which, coming from which, some contemplatives and Brahmans, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill-wriggling. So this is the first person. So now we're going to talk about the second group. As for the second, with reference to what, coming from what, to honorable contemplatives and Brahmins, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill wrangling. Okay, next slide. There's the case where certain contemplative or Brahman doesn't discern as it has come to be that this is skillful or that this is unskillful. The thought occurs to him, I don't discern as it has come to be that this is skillful or this is unskillful. If I, not discerning as it has come to be that this is skillful, not discerning as it has come to be that this is unskillful, were to declare that this is skillful or that is unskillful, next, that would be a desire on my part, a passion and aversion. Okay, so very similar to the first group, whereas this one talks about seeing this fault as passion, yeah, as a desire, or an irritation on my part. Whatever would be a desire or passion or aversion or irritation on my part would be a clinging on my part. So this is very similar to the entirety of this Brahmā Jala Sutta. So towards the end of the Brahmā Jala Sutta, the Buddha will mention every view, as long as you have craving, you still have irritation, still have passion, still have aversion, then that is still not the true right view. That is still not a true right view. So, but in this particular ill wrangling portion, they kind of evade the aversion by not facing on the question. Okay, so I will just continue reading. Whatever would be a distress for me would be an obstacle for me. So out of fear of clinging, a loathing for clinging, he does not declare that this is skillful or that this is unskillful. Okay, next. Being asked questions regarding this or that, he resorts to verbal contortions, to ill wrangling. I don't think so. I don't think in that way. I don't think otherwise. I don't think not. I don't think not. Yeah, so it's the same as the first one. This is the second basis, with reference to which, coming from which, some contemplatives and Brahmins, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill wrangling. So basically different intention. Okay, then now let's move to the third one. As for the third, with reference to what, coming from what, to honorable contemplatives and Brahmins, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill wrangling. Okay, next. There's a case where certain contemplative or Brahman doesn't discern as it has come to be that this is skillful or that this is unskillful. The thought occurs to him, I don't discern as it has come to be that this is skillful or that is unskillful. If I, not discerning as it has come to be that this is skillful, not discerning as it has come to be that this is unskillful, were to declare that this is skillful or this is unskillful. So very similar to the first two. Next. These are contemplatives and Brahmins who are pandits, subtle, masters of debate, like hair-splitting marksmen. They prowl about, shooting philosophical standpoints to pieces, as it were, with their dialectic. They might cross-question me there, press me for reasons, rebuke me. When they would cross-question me there, press me for reasons, rebuke me, I might not be able to stand my ground against them. So this third group of ill wranglers, they are afraid of debate. They are afraid of not being able to answer questions. So the intention is again very different from the first two. Whereas the first two is more for their conscience. more for their concern. This one is more for saving face. This third group is more for saving face. Okay, next one. The fact that I will not stand my ground would be a distress for me. Whatever would be a distress for me would be an obstacle for me. So out of fear for interrogation, a loading for interrogation, he does not declare that this is skillful or that is unskillful. But being asked questions regarding this or that, he resorts to verbal contortions, to ill-wrangling. I don't think so. I don't think in that way. I don't think otherwise. I don't think not. I don't think not. So the various combinations of not answering the question. So anyway, in Buddhism also, or the first few lessons we talk about one of the qualities of the Buddha is not to engage in debate. Also the previous series on the water snake simile, the Buddha also mentioned grasping the Dhamma wrongly is like going to a debate. So if a person uses the Dhamma to attack, to debate, then that is actually not grasping the teaching correctly. It's like if a person is sick, instead of taking the medicine, they use the medicine to do painting. They do something else with the medicine. So same thing here. The Dhamma is not meant for this kind of debate or argument. Okay, next. So partially this third group is kind of correct, but what the Buddha is implying, they're still not yet enlightened. But at least they try their best. So of course it applies all across the board, even for Buddhist teachers. Some of them may not know the answer. Then they might resort to ill-wrangling also. This is the third basis, with reference to which, coming from which, some contemplatives and Brahmins, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill-wrangling. Now we're going to cover the fourth and the final part for these ill-wranglers. As for the fourth, with reference to what, coming from what, do honorable contemplatives and Brahmins, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill-wrangling. Next. There's a case where certain contemplative or Brahman is dull and exceedingly stupid. Okay, so this is a unique case, different from the first three. So this one's got to do with the intelligence level. Out of dullness and exceeding stupidity, he, being asked questions regarding this or that, resorts to verbal contortions, to ill-wrangling. If you ask me if there exists another world after death, if I thought that there exists another world, would I declare that to you? I don't think so. I don't think in that way. I don't think otherwise. I don't think not. I don't think not. Yeah, so basically this group is due to low intelligence level. Next. If you ask me if there isn't another world, both is and isn't, neither is nor isn't. If there are beings who wander on, if there aren't, both are and aren't, neither are nor aren't. If the Tathagata exists after death, doesn't exist after death, both exist and doesn't exist after death, neither exists nor doesn't exist after death, would I declare that to you? I don't think so. I don't think in that way. I don't think otherwise. I don't think not. I don't think not. Okay, so interestingly, the Buddha also don't entertain these questions. But the Buddha is very clear why he doesn't entertain these questions, because it doesn't lead one to the truth, doesn't end suffering. So that's the Buddha's standpoint, very clear. He won't beat around the bush and try to claim that he knows the answer. Okay, next. This is the fourth basis, with reference to which, coming from which, some contemplatives and Brahmins, when being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill-wrangling. Right, so these are the four. Okay, next. These monks are the contemplatives and Brahmins who, being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill wriggling, and whatever contemplatives and Brahmins who, being asked questions regarding this or that, resort to verbal contortions, to ill wriggling, they all do so on one or another of these four grounds. There is nothing outside of this. Okay, next. With regard to this, the Tathagata discerned that these standpoints, thus seized, thus grasped at, leading to such and such a destination, to such and such a state of world beyond, that the Tathagata discerns, and he discerns what is higher than that, and yet discerning that he does not grasp at it, and as he is not grasping at it, unbinding or nibbuti is experienced right within. Knowing as they have come to be, the origination, ending, allure, and drawbacks of feelings, along with the escape from feelings, the Tathagata monks, through lack of clinging sustenance, is released. So the first three of these irregulars have a kind of intention. Their intention is not to gonna find fault, not to produce irritation, not to feel guilty. So all these things, there's a kind of clinging. So if you cling to an expectation, then there will be some form of suffering. So the Buddha mentioned here, do not grasp to this clinging. So only, interestingly, an enlightened being will not grasp to these concepts. So any Dhamma teacher, if they are not enlightened, will surely grasp to something. Surely grasp to something. Okay, next. These monks are the Dhammas deep, hard to see, hard to realize, tranquil, refined, beyond the scope of conjecture, subtle, to be experienced by the wise, that the Tathagata proclaims, having directly known and realized them for himself, and that those who, rightly speaking in praise of the Tathagata in line with what is factual, would speak. Yeah, so this is one of the virtues of the Buddha, not clinging on to any doctrine or not grasping onto any concepts. Okay, next. Okay, so the next group of ideology is called fortuitous arising. I do not know how to pronounce this. If anybody knows how to pronounce, can let me know. There are among some contemplatives and Brahmins who are fortuitous arisingists, very long term, who proclaim a fortuitously arising self and cosmos on two grounds. So if I'm not wrong, this term means by chance. So the background I put like rolling a dice. It's like gambling by luck, by chance. So things arise by chance. Or some people say the universe is created by chance. There's no creator, like a lot of the atheists. And with reference to what? Coming from what? Are these honorable contemplatives and Brahmins fortuitous arisingists, who proclaim a fortuitously arising self and cosmos on two grounds. So this one only has two grounds. Okay, next. There are monks, devas, called non-percipient beings, but with the arising of perception, they fall from that company of devas. Now, there is the possibility, monks, that a certain being, having fallen from that company, comes to this world. Having come to this world, he goes forth from the home life into homelessness. So this is quite similar to one of the previous few sets. From the heavenly being, they fall down to the human realm, and then they become a religious clergy and become this homeless monastic. Okay, next. Having gone forth from the home life into homelessness, he, through ardency, through exertion, through commitment, through heedfulness, through right attention, touches and awareness concentration, such that he recollects the arising of perception, but nothing prior to that. He says, the self and the cosmos are fortuitously arisen. Why is that? Because before I wasn't, now I am. Not having been, I sprang into being. So this is very similar. I think, therefore I am. Once you start thinking, then the concept of self or perception or the becoming, sense of being start to appear. Okay, next. This is the first basis with reference to which, coming from which, some contemplatives and Brahmins are fortuitous arisingist, who proclaim a fortuitously arising self and cosmos. So the realm of this perception, or neither perception or non-perception, is, I would say, the highest realm in samsara. The highest realm in samsara. So according to some chart or some of the scriptures, they mention they can live a very, very long lifespan. 84,000 eons. If I'm not wrong. That's quite a long lifespan. As for the second, with reference to what? Coming from what? Honorable contemplatives and Brahmins, fortuitous arisingists, who proclaim a fortuitous arisen self and cosmos. So this is the second view. So let's look what into the second view is about. There is a case where a certain contemplative or Brahman is a logician, an inquirer. So this one is not a meditator, so cannot recollect anything or cannot reach any heightened state of mind that perceive any reason kind of perceptions. He states his own improvisation, hammered out by logic, deduced from his inquiries. The self and the cosmos are fortuitously arisen. So this would probably make up most of the atheists or the philosophers. This is the second basis, with reference to which, coming from which, some contemplatives and Brahmins are fortuitous arisingists, who proclaim a fortuitously arisen self and cosmos. Okay, next. These monks are the contemplatives and Brahmins who are fortuitous arisingists, who proclaim a fortuitously arisen self and cosmos on two grounds, and whatever contemplatives and Brahmins who are fortuitous arisingists, who proclaim a fortuitously arisen self and cosmos, they all do so on one or another of these two grounds. There is nothing outside of this. So the Buddha said there are two possibilities. Either they do have some heightened mind that through probably their limited perception, even though they have heightened state of mind, they kind of declare this conclusion, or out of pure logic, out of pure reasoning, then they come up with this conclusion. Okay, next. With regard to this, the Tathagata discerns that these standpoints, thus seized, thus grasped at, lead to such and such a destination, to such and such a state in the world beyond. Then the Tathagata discerns, and he discerns what is higher than that, and yet discerning that, he does not grasp at it. And as he is not grasping at it, unbinding Nibbutthi is experienced right within. Knowing as they have come to be, the origination, ending, allure and drawbacks of feelings, along with the escape from feelings, the Tathagata, monks, through the lack of clinging sustenance, is released. So this verse is repeated over and over and over again. It's trying to emphasize that the Buddha's doctrine is emphasizing in release of mind, like to not cling to concepts. So even if a person don't believe how the world is created, any kind of origin story, doesn't matter whether is it by chance or by some deity or some deities that created the universe, not so important in Buddhism. The Buddha is more interested in removing the poison arrow. The Buddha give example, those questions like asking how the universe originate, whether the universe is eternal or not eternal. All these are not important questions. Like a person being shot by a poison arrow, and instead of trying to remove the arrow, if like there's a doctor or a medic nearby, they're trying to help the victim remove the arrow, try to apply medicine to heal the wound. Then this person don't want to remove the arrow, the victim. Then he keep questioning, who shot the arrow to me? How is this person like? Which country is the person from? What race? What is the arrow made of? What material? What kind of feathers are they used from? So all the questions regarding to the origination of the universe are like these kind of questions. It doesn't end suffering. So the Buddha is more interested in the maybe more relevant questions that kind of end suffering. That means more like doing the action to lead the detachment, to lead the removal of the poison arrow, removal of the suffering. Okay, next slide. These monks are the Dhammas deep, hard to see, hard to realize, tranquil, refined, beyond the scope of conjecture, subtle to be experienced by the wise, that the Tathagata proclaims, having directly known and realized them for himself, and that those who rightly speaking in praise of the Tathagata in line with what is factual would speak. Okay, so I will end the theoretical sharing today. If not, there will be no end to it. So let's open the floor to Q&A. Any questions at this point? Yes, happy.
And then I'd like to ask about the one who said the ear-wiggling compassion. So, like for Brahman, because there are many types of Brahman, and also the way they think, they perceive. So, like for example, in the monkhood, when you see the senior monk being questioned, so they normally doesn't want to answer the question, and they just let the junior monk to answer it. Because they avoid the debate, because they don't want to go into the Dhamma.
May not necessarily be true. So the term Brahman and contemplatives would encompass like every teacher, including like what you mentioned, Buddhist teachers also. So sometimes because different monks, they specialize in different things. So if you want to ask me questions on building monasteries, I hardly have any expertise in this. So I would refer to another monk who has expertise on this. So the question, maybe that particular monk may not be an expert in it, but he knows of another monk who is an expert in this, or more specialized in that field, or more knowledgeable in that field, then he will just direct the question to another person.
But what about the context of the sutta, like the Brahmin, they say that in the Buddhism, avoiding the debate is much better. I mean, like it's the rule in the Buddhism, so that there are no debate. But is it really true? Like, is it really can avoiding the debate? Because, like,
if possible, we will try to avoid. We need to come up with protocols, other kinds of questions to. I won't say called ear-wriggling. We'll kind of take it in a private session. If you want to ask questions, if let's say they are directly from the scriptures that the Buddha won't entertain, we'll just say, okay, these are the questions that is not mentioned. So the whole idea is trying to be as straightforward as possible. If you don't know, just say don't know.
That's one in the context of the monk, right?
Yeah, for monks. Yeah. So I think it's for lay person it might be applicable also. If a person want to have a more peaceful mind, then they shouldn't use the Dhamma for debating.
They shouldn't use the Dhamma for debating.
Yeah.
But if they are engaging in curiosity and they want to dive deeper into the Buddhism and they want to learn, so maybe they need to have some kind of maybe question thing. So it's not debate, but I mean like more curiosity.
Yeah, that is fine. It is encouraged in Buddhism. Questions are encouraged. So that's why I always ask you all to ask questions. Okay, no problem. So debating means there must be a winner and loser. So that is debate. Yeah.
I mean they want to be a winner.
Yes. Yeah, is to challenge and try to defeat or destroy the opponent. So that is a debate.
So that means they debate with ego because they want to win over some topics.
Yeah, maybe in the past there might be some scholars or academicians, their favorite is to do a debate. Maybe in some Buddhist traditions, they have a different intention when they engage in debate. Yeah, so even though they have the challenging mentality, but the idea is to train their wit, train their intellectual kind of thinking or logical thinking.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, no problem. Okay, are there any other questions?
Ajahn, can I ask?
Yep, sure.
So in other words, so there are two ways Buddha explained the universe. I mean, how it comes into being. One is through the Aganya Sutta and one is through the Paticca Samuppada, right? The 12 links of dependent origination, right? Am I right to say it?
Yeah, in a way. So the Paticca Samuppada would be the coming of existence of the sense of self. How does this so-called the sense of being come into being due to the cognitive processes? So that is the Paticca Samuppada. And even in this particular sutta, the Buddha also mentioned about the universe contracting, expanding. So in a way, not really so much on the origination of the universe, but more on the cycle, acknowledging the cyclic kind of repetitions.
So it still leans towards Paticca Samuppada, is it?
Yeah, so the Buddha's teaching is more emphasizing on the Paticca Samuppada to understand how clinging occurs and how to detach from it.
I see. And then the other thing, all this knowledge, right? This Buddha, I mean our current Buddha, which is Siddhartha Gautama, right? Learn it through him, because I read somewhere he said all this knowledge he discovered it himself, is it? He never learned from others, is it?
The Four Noble Truths he discovered himself.
Then, if I'm not mistaken, during his past life, right? He come across maybe the Pankara Buddha, Vipassi Buddha, Kassapa Buddha. Right? During that time, he never learned from them. I'm sure he learned from them, right? It's just that because he gone through many life cycles and then he forgetted it, and then during this life only he rediscovered the path. So in other words, he learned from them as well, right? Am I right to say it? Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, very good point. So again, this is very subjective to debate. There are some scholars who are like trying to filter out which of the scriptures are added later. So some like the Jataka stories or the past life stories they believe might be like added in later. But regardless of this meeting of Dipankara Buddha or not, because we have countless past lives, so there is a possibility we will encounter some past Buddha in one way or another.
So he may learn from them as well, right?
Yeah, he may learn from them. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have a comment here.
Yep.
Okay, Terence here, I have a comment.
Oh, yes, okay.
That context is referring to this cycle where there wasn't any Dhamma. The Dhamma was lost. Siddhartha found it. Okay. That's my comment.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, so very good point. So a being is called Samma Sambuddha or Pacceka Buddha, that means a supreme Buddha, a silent Buddha, is when nobody else in the world knows how to reach enlightenment. So the first person who rediscover it, then they can call themselves or we call them the supreme Buddha or the silent Buddha. Yeah, thanks Terence for highlighting this.
So just want to check. So all those previous Buddha, Dipankara Buddha and Vipassi Buddha, Kassapa Buddha, all those are considered silent Buddha or Samma Sambuddha?
If they teach, then they are Samma Sambuddha. Lo.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay, understand.
Okay. So even though they have taught before, not all beings reach enlightenment. So those who wander on, and if let's say samsara, nobody knows how to reach enlightenment or nobody is enlightened, then the first person who rediscover it, then that would be the Buddha. Lo. Okay, any other questions? Alright, happy?
Again, like, or, right now, because we are still in the Buddha Gautama era,
Yes.
finished. But is there any sign or characteristic that is going to be like the Dhamma is going to extinct, change to the Adhamma?
It is very much, I won't say predicted, is much observed by the Buddha, our historical Buddha, that the Dhamma is declining already. Even with his own disciple, he see all kinds of people joining in, then he will know, okay, this is declining already. The Dhamma is declining. So he believes that after some time, or it's a nature, things will go in cycles. So when the Buddha is around, so that would be like the purest of the teaching, and once he is gone, then nobody will kind of verify what is the correct teaching, and it will naturally go downhill.
And how I can see this era right now?
Pardon?
So how I can see in this era right now?
How do I see this era right now? So
long time ago, it was extinct, or
I won't say it's extinct, it's still degenerating, and it will only it will continue to degenerate until the next Buddha appear. Yeah, so that's how it works. So when the Dhamma is lost, then the next Buddha rediscover it.
Is there any link with the age of the people again?
Age of the people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this Chakravartin Sutta, yeah? Talks about this human lifespan. We are still degenerating. We believe that humans used to live for 80,000 years. So now we are on the way down to 100 years, and we continue to devolve until the minimum 10 years old. 10 years old, yeah. So that means people can get married before 5 years old, can give birth to children at 5 years old. So that stage, yeah. So once humans like lifespan is at 10, then it will go through a cycle again. It will kind of evolve back to 80,000 years old, and when it reaches 80,000 years old, then the next Buddha will come.
However, I just want to add on, like, because this one is saying in the sutta, but like, right now people are so health conscious, and they are so healthy, and then I think the lifespan is increasing rather than degenerating. So
very hard to say.
it's very hard to say.
You won't know the reason why the human lifespan decrease is due to the decrease in morality. Yeah, so nowadays maybe certain the medical sector or the pharmaceutical sector, if they are not honest, they play around with the scientific reports and they tell you certain medication is safe. The next moment they say, oh, it's not safe anymore. Then they keep changing, that kind of stuff. So it depends on who lobbies and pays them more to promote their product. So due to this dishonesty, people get sick, people have a lot of side effects and all those stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Alright, if there's no questions, we go for a 5-minute break, then we come back for the guided meditation. Okay, let's see who has returned. While waiting for the rest to come back online. Anyone here wants to ask questions or comment on anything?
Bante, can I check
yes.
you one? Because I was told because it's because human lifespan, right, will decline from 80,000 of years until average 100 years old, right? Is it because of the so-called the so-called central lust, anger, jealousy, all those so-called negative?
Yeah, any immoral thing will affect the human lifespan. Yes.
So it's the negative. The negative aspect and cause our lifespan to decline until 100 years old. Is it?
Yeah, due to certain dishonesty, and it will lead to a certain course of action.
Okay. So our lifespan is originally same as the celestial being. Am I right? Because
as close to the original celestial beings that descended to be the first humans. Yes.
I see. I understand.
Okay, anyone else? Or waiting for the rest? Yes, Happy. You are muted.
And I want to ask question regarding the Brahmin. How to know someone is going to revert in the Brahmin world? What is the characteristic? Because like for people, if they going to the Beta realm, it can be seen when they are in the near death moment. Sometimes there are some characteristic like the teeth coming like and yet like for heavenly being maybe there are some like good transport coming to pick them up.
Okay.
How about the Brahmin?
So you're asking about the Brahma world, yeah? Any signs and symptoms to be heading to the Brahma world. So in Theravada scripture, I don't think there's any mention on the physical signs. We don't really look at the bodies of the departed to tell which realm they have headed. So it's more for the individual experience. So as long as a person, they may be practicing the 4 Brahma Viharas, or they practice any kind of jhanic concentrations, and that would actually be the factor, the cause for getting reborn in the Brahma world.
What about the sign like rainbow or the meteor falling?
That we will have no idea. We have no idea. I have no idea. So this is actually part of the early portion of the sutta, on the different sign readings, the meteorological readings, any comets or asteroids shooting, any stars, star shooting. So we don't tell any of these signs lah. Okay. Alright, so I presume the rest have returned, so we can start the meditation, guided meditation. So we mute the mic to prevent this echoing and feedback. Alright, so we start off with finding a comfortable seated position. Make sure your back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, and we are going to think of the body, impurities of the body meditation, a bit of visualization. So we start off with all the hairs. Visualize the hairs from head to toe. And if we do not intentionally generate any right thought or any skillful thoughts, then naturally the mind will go to unskillful thinking. If the hair appear nice, good looking, very beautiful hair, then one will react with greed, unskillful reaction. And if, let's say, the hairs appear in the image to be disgusting, the fashion not nice or appear messy, then one may react with aversion or anger. So this is also unskillful kind of reaction. So the skillful way, at least in the Noble Eightfold Path, we are going to generate right thought. So we first wish the hairs well and happy. So wishing it well and happy is just one moment of skillfulness. Once we stop only, then back to unskillful thoughts again. So we need to keep repeating. Once we wish the hairs well and happy, and once we finish the sentence, we quickly move on to a new patch of hair and wish it well and happy. And once you're done with that, move on, new patch of hair, well and happy, new patch of hair, well and happy. So this repetition, we call it right effort. So if the mind has reduced its agitation, gets calmer, then that's part of the skillful process. If the mind is getting more agitated or drift off somewhere, then it's part of being unskillful. And if you have found your mind settled down, or for those who have settled down, then this would be the minimum requirement for wisdom and insight. So we are now switching to the insight portion. So now we think of the hairs going through birth, aging, sickness and death. So we think of them growing and falling many cycles. And as we keep looping the image, we need to keep on repeating, mentally reciting birth, aging, sickness, death. So we don't have to think of too much story, just narrow down to just hairs growing and falling. So make sure you must mentally label birth, aging, sickness, death. Must say these words, or you can use rising and passing. You need to have the right thought. The labeling needs to be there. If you do not have this in the Eightfold Path, then the wheel don't turn, or they turn the other way. Okay, then we can ask ourselves, are these hairs truly self? Can we tell the hairs not to go through birth and death? So basically you can check the sense of self or selfishness. Is its intensity increasing or decreasing every time you think of impermanence? And the next part of the body we can think of are the nails, fingernails and toenails, and we wish them well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness and death. So we think of them growing and falling, many cycles. And as we keep looping the image, we need to mentally recite birth, aging, sickness, death. Only when you mentally recite, then you pull the mind away from the story making. Okay, then we move on to the next part of the body, which is the teeth, or the teeth inside the mouth. And we're going to wish them well and happy. And all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and death. So we think of them growing and falling many, many cycles. And as we keep on looping the image, we need to mentally recite birth, aging, sickness, death. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Can we tell the teeth not to go through birth and death? So the next part of the body, we can think of the skin that surround the whole body, and we wish them well and happy. And all the skin are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and death. So we think of them growing and falling many, many cycles. And as we keep looping this image, we need to mentally recite birth, aging, sickness, death. And we can ask ourselves, are this skin truly self? Can we tell the skin not to go through birth and death? Okay, then the next phase of the meditation, we are now going to not visualize anymore. We're just going to feel the 4 element sensations. So these are the earth, fire, wind, water elements. Earth represents any hard or soft sensations. Fire is hot and cold. Wind is the fast, slow movements, and water is the moist or dry sensations. So there's no need to control them. We let them appear naturally by themselves. They can appear any part of the body. We don't have to control which area. So as long as anything appear, we wish them well and happy. Yeah? So we intentionally wish them well and happy. So even though we're using a different sense contact, we're not visualizing anymore. It's still the same 5 aggregates, 5 clinging aggregates. So the mind has calmed down. We call this your neutral baseline state. And we take note of this state of mind for comparison. And now we're going to cultivate this boundless loving kindness. We're going to wish, may all beings in all directions be well and happy, above, below, and all across. May all beings be well and happy. And in that enlarged area of attention, we don't have to imagine how all beings look like. We use the lowest common denominator. All beings are made of the 4 elements. So whatever sensation appear, we're going to wish, may all beings be well and happy. So the sensations may appear inside the body, they may appear outside the body, it doesn't matter. As long as you detect something, then you need to wish, may all beings be well and happy. So you need to keep on repeating. Okay, if the conditions are right, you have the right thought, right effort, everything, keep on wishing may all beings be well and happy, then this loving kindness may trigger the right concentration. Usually it will lead one to the first level of concentration. So if there is any increment in joy and happiness compared to the bland or neutral state from earlier, then that would be the indicator. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing may all beings be well and happy. Keep turning the Dhamma wheel. And now we add some insight, some wisdom. We are going to reflect how to cultivate a more unconditional loving kindness, a more detached loving kindness. So we are going to now reflect on impermanence. So every sensation that appears, we just recite, rising and passing. Okay, if the joy of detachment starts to disappear, one may experience a more dense or concentrated kind of neutral emotion. And we call that equanimity, more refreshed, more alert. And regardless of what you experience, keep on reciting, rising and passing, keep turning the Dhamma wheel. Okay, then now we move on to the second sublime state, which is compassion. So we're going to wish may all beings be free from suffering. So using the lowest common denominator, we try not to go into any storytelling. So if you go to storytelling, it will lead to lots of unskillful states, lots of restlessness and worry. So we stick back to the four element sensations, no imagination. So whatever sensation appear, we need to wish, may all beings be free from suffering. Okay, if the conditions are right, if you've done it skillfully, then it will lead one, the compassion may lead one to the second level of concentration, indicated by this emotion of joy and happiness. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing, may all beings be free from suffering. Then we move on to the insight portion. We're going to reflect how to overcome suffering, which is to not cling to the aggregates. So we shake off the clinging with impermanence. Any sensation appearing, we just recite rising and passing. Okay, and before we conclude the session, same gentle reminder: in all activities, whether we're standing, sitting, walking or lying down, we can be mindful of impermanence or the sublime states, and with that we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, and formally generate right thought. Okay, any problems or questions from anyone? If there's no issues, then we move on to the chanting, concluding chant. Okay, Anumodana, dedicating merits. Akasata ca Bhumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyang tang anumoditva Chirang rakantu loka sasanang Etavata ca amhehi Sampadang punya sampadang Sabbe deva sabbe bhuta sabbe sata anumodantu Sabba sampati siddhya. Dedication of merits to departed. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu Yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And we bow to the Buddha 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Okay, that's it. Any announcements from Terence? If not, then good night everyone. See you all next week.